I went to meet a big client with John. During the meal, I discovered it was Robert. Robert saw me working and didn't disturb me. He just conveniently gave me the dishes I liked to eat when he saw them. After the meal, John originally planned to drive me back. However, I unknowingly took Robert's arm and said, "Let's go home together." Robert smiled and said, "Okay." John, driving not far away, looked puzzled. After returning home, I found over 99 unread messages on my phone, all from John. "Emily, are you crazy? As someone just working a job, it's not your turn to prostitute yourself. If anyone is going to do that, it should be me. That old man is lecherous. At a glance, he's no good person. Don't let him deceive you. Turn back before it's too late, there's still time." Later, John seemed to have run out of ideas. "I understand you want to take a shortcut, but why attach yourself to him and not me? Although that old man has more money than me right now, I'm not bad either. I'm young, fit, strong, and great in bed. How could I not compare to a 65-year-old man? Trust me, he can't satisfy you." It was the first time I'd seen John talk so much. After graduating from university and returning to China, I joined a startup company. I heard the boss was also fresh out of college. He couldn't find a job for a year and decided to start his own business. John was usually quite nice except when communication got tricky. When there was no work, he'd go out and do side gigs to pay our salaries. After nearly 6 months at the company, he achieved some success, expanded operations, and hired 2 more people. I got promoted to John's assistant and started accompanying him on business trips. Honestly, if it weren't for the 3,000 yuan raise, I'd rather be in the office enjoying the air conditioning, ordering takeout, and waiting for John to pay me. Even though I'm traveling with him now, he doesn't overwork me much. He even drives the car himself. I munched on a crepe John bought while listening to his empty promises. "Emily, you've been with me for a while now. You know my character, I'll never shortchange you." I chewed away. "Got it. This crepe is pretty tasty." John continued, "You've been working hard alongside me lately, running around non-stop. John, see everything. Once we meet that big client tomorrow and close the deal, I'll give you a bonus and some time off." I chewed some more. "Awesome, John. What's that crispy, thin stuff in this crepe? It's delicious." He was babbling something. I thought about asking him to buy me 2 more crepes. I patted my slightly full stomach and decided against it. Better not waste it. "John, I'm still not full." John nodded contentedly. "If you can eat, that's a good sign." John took tomorrow's dinner meeting very seriously, preparing materials late into the night and even booking a 7-star high-end restaurant. It was the first time I'd seen him so focused and solemn, so I braced myself too. I heard this big client was introduced by John's family. His relatives saw he'd been working diligently outside for almost 2 years with little progress, so they wanted to lend a hand. Some proud rich kids might see that as charity and refuse out of stubbornness, but John was different. He had over a dozen employees to support and couldn't abandon them. He was highly responsible, having suffered through job hunting himself, and he wouldn't let his staff face unemployment hardships. That's why John valued this opportunity so much. He dressed impeccably in a tailored suit, and I even wore a professional outfit for once. We arrived at the restaurant first. The boss, John Wilson, glanced at his watch from time to time. "Me, boss, are you nervous?" "John, a bit. I'm not sure if this big client will take a fancy to our small place." I patted him on the shoulder. "Relax. Whether it works out or not, we won't abandon you. Who would abandon a job with few tasks, high pay, and a nice boss?" Right after I finished speaking, I saw the door of the private room open, and a familiar figure was walking towards us. John switched gears in an instant and immediately stepped forward to greet him. "Mr. Brown, good to see you." "Good to see you." I never expected that the big client John mentioned would be my dad, Robert Brown. While taking our seats, I secretly told John, "This deal is in the bag." John looked confused. I didn't want to explain too much, so I just winked at my dad from afar. Seeing me at work, my dad didn't come over to get chummy with me. I was sitting next to John, and then my dad sat right next to me. Me? There are so many other seats. You have to sit next to me, right? A father knows his daughter best. My dad understood what I meant and was about to stand up when John quickly stopped him. It's okay, it's okay. Mr. Brown can sit wherever he wants. Under the table, John kicked me. I shut up obediently. At that moment, I almost forgot he was my dad. My dad gave John an approving look and then started talking about work. Seeing me calmly taking out the materials, he smiled with a fatherly sense of relief. Mr. Wilson, your assistant is quite good. John, oh, it's nothing. Me, that's right. During the meal, while talking about work with John, my dad would also pick up some dishes for me. I was used to it because my dad often took me out for business dinners when I was a kid. I didn't notice John's increasingly strange expression. Before the conversation was over, John suddenly said he was full. I looked up from my meal in the middle of my busy schedule. There are still so many dishes left. How can you be full already? John gave me a look, signaling me to be quiet, and then pulled me out. Before leaving, he gave my dad a meaningful look. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for taking care of my assistant. Let's talk about the cooperation later. Although he doesn't have much backbone, he still has a little bit. He could tell what this old guy was up to with his assistant. I looked at John in a daze as he suddenly acted like a heroic knight saving the damsel in distress. Emily, you're mine. I won't let you be wronged. What are you doing? Why are you suddenly so dramatic? I'll go get the car. I was completely confused. Is work over already? John, yeah. As soon as he left, my dad came out. My dad stroked my head. Emily, is work over? I nodded slowly. I guess so. The boss is acting crazy. I'm off work early. Forget it. Let's go home together. I wrapped my arm around my dad's. My dad smiled. Okay. John Wilson, not far away, had just driven out his car and saw the scene. John, he really went after my innocent and kind assistant. After I got home, I found 99 plus unread messages on WeChat, all from John. Emily, have you lost your mind? The company isn't going under yet, and I can support you just fine. Why are you running off with some Robert? You're just a worker, you don't need to sacrifice yourself for the job. If anyone's sacrificing themselves, it should be me. That Robert looks sleazy at first glance and isn't any good, don't fall for his tricks. Turn back before it's too late. Later, John seemed to run out of ideas. Emily, didn't you promise you wouldn't abandon me? I get it that you want to take shortcuts, but why latch on to him instead of me? Sure, that Robert has more money than me right now, but I'm not doing badly either. I'm young, strong, and good in bed. How could I not compare to some 65-year-old Robert? Believe me, he can't satisfy you. I can. Me? What do you mean, you can? First time I've seen a boss spout so much. I thought it over and sent him a message. He's my Robert. The chat window instantly went quiet. 5 minutes later. John, did he force you to call him that? Me? Me, I was born to call him Robert. Calling him Robert is just calling him Robert. Why would anyone need to force that? Maybe John has a dysfunctional family or some childhood trauma and psychological issues? If he doesn't call his dad Dad, what does he call him, Neighbor Bill? Whatever, it's best not to pry into others' family matters. John was heartbroken on the other end of the phone. Okay, I understand. Naively thinking things were cleared up, I replied with relief, good that you know. I sighed in relief, the misunderstanding was resolved. Over on his phone, John frowned deeply, wondering why she's so stubborn. Me, by the way, boss, I don't want others finding out about this, can you keep it confidential? I don't want colleagues knowing my background, I'm afraid they'll stop sharing snacks with me, maybe even gossip behind my back about how I'm some young lady putting on airs. After all, there's too much hostility in society these days, and lots of people can't stand others doing well. John, don't worry, I will. Who goes around telling people about others sponging off the rich? I'm no gossip queen. Our misunderstanding-filled chat ended, and I went to bed, satisfied. But John tossed and turned in his king-sized bed all night. After a happy weekend break, I returned to work on Monday. My colleague saw me, still generously shared 2 steamed buns, and whispered, "Mr. John's in a bad mood today, be careful." Back when the company expanded a bit and John needed to hire an assistant, no one wanted to go for it. Nobody fancied tagging along with the boss on business trips all the time. In a startup, both the company and employees were pretty young, fresh out of the workforce, with modern mindsets. Everyone loved slacking off and hated being micromanaged. When it came time to pick the boss's assistant, only I volunteered. Seeing that, they all breathed a sigh of relief and looked at me with eyes full of admiration. So right now, all my colleagues are still really grateful to me. They admire me for running around with John here and there, being able to handle the pressure. They're also afraid I might buckle under the pressure and leave, because if I do, the pressure would shift straight to them. Even when John is in a bad mood, my colleagues will kindly give me a heads up in advance to avoid rubbing him the wrong way. A colleague said, he came in today already in a foul mood, complaining about the bad weather. Was John in a bad mood because the deal with Robert didn't come through? Well, I heard Robert actually had a pretty good impression of him. Just last weekend at home, he chatted with me a bit and even said John was talented and promising, a young man to watch. I brought a cup of hand-ground coffee and knocked on John's office door. John said, "Come in," his voice about 2 tones lower than usual, definitely not in a great mood. I entered cautiously, and John was drinking coffee. Hearing my voice, John propped his head up from behind his computer, looking at me with a bewildered expression. "I thought you wouldn't come to work today," he said. "What a weird thing to say." I replied, "On weekends, with the 2-day break, of course I wouldn't come. Mondays are for work, aren't they?" John said, "I thought you were going to quit." I reacted a beat slow. Based on what I knew, he just found out a couple days ago that I'm Robert's daughter, so he thought I was some spoiled rich girl who wouldn't degrade herself by staying in his small company and might quit. Well, he was totally overthinking it. I admit I used to be a spoiled and arrogant young lady, but after 5 years living abroad as an international student, I changed. Really, everything changed. Picky eating? Gone. After coming back, even pig or dog food looked tempting enough for me to gulp down. Princess syndrome? None of that. When I was studying overseas, I had to work part-time washing dishes in a restaurant. Because I'm the youngest of the youngest generation in the Brown family, and a girl at that. In a family environment full of sons everywhere, a daughter was a rarity. From a young age, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, literally. I was cradled in the palms of my family members as I grew up, given whatever I wanted. I didn't even know how to dress myself by the time I was in junior high, and someone had to feed me my meals. Eventually, it was my real mom who couldn't take it anymore. To toughen me up and prevent me from getting ruined by staying home, she pushed back against all objections and, with a firm heart, threw me abroad. She only paid for my tuition. I had to figure everything else out on my own, and she cut off any support from Robert or my brother. Those 5 years overseas were like my own transformation reality show. I learned to wash my own clothes, cook my own meals, earn my own money, and I couldn't afford luxury goods anymore. The spoiled me vanished without a trace. I was even afraid that if I went back, I'd fall back into my mom's clutches, so I scrambled to find this job outside. John has no clue how lively and cheerful I am out here in the world. I won't quit this job, John. You have no idea what things are like at home for me. My mom's fierce. Going back would mean no peace whatsoever. For instance, I haven't seen my brother smile in ages. Then John misunderstood again in a heartfelt way. "It's okay. If there's any trouble, just tell me." He knew I must have been forced into that situation, helpless. Poor me. Society drove a pure, innocent girl just out of college into such a state. It's terrible. I waved my hand. No, I can handle it myself. The look John gave me flickered strangely with affection. Seeing my resilient, optimistic attitude that wouldn't be beaten down by life even sparked a deep protective instinct in him. Plus, John treats me so well, and I get along great with my colleagues. "Unless you fire me, I'm not going anywhere." "I told you I won't abandon you," I said. John hesitated. Then what about you and that Robert? I asked. What about him? John said, never mind. He'd promised not to bring it up again. Walls have ears, and it wouldn't be good for my reputation. I thought he was worried I'd mix personal and professional matters, so I reassured him, don't worry. I know where to draw the line. Officially, Robert and I have no connection. John responded, but privately. There is still a relationship, right? Was that what he meant? How tough must things be at home for me that even after hooking up with a rich older man, I still have to work a job here? Maybe I knew someone old like Robert couldn't be relied on and wanted a backup plan? Poor thing, so young but already carrying the family's burden. It's really hard for a woman to fight her way alone out here in the world. Everything I'm doing for survival is understandable. Blame it on fate being unfair. Blame himself for realizing too late and not holding me back. Blame his own indecisiveness for not speaking his feelings in time and not showing up when I needed help. If he'd been more capable back then, maybe I wouldn't have stooped to being with an old man like that. John Wilson looked at me in an increasingly strange way, and I had absolutely no idea that he had imagined so many things. Since then, John has been treating me better and better. I wonder if he's trying to curry favor with me because of my dad, Robert Brown. He often takes me out for special treats and occasionally gives me big tips. For example, when he asks me to buy something for him that only costs $100, he directly gives me $1,000 and tells me to keep the change as a tip. Moreover, when I got my salary at the end of the month, I found that there was an extra $20,000 in my card. John explained, "This is what you deserve. I said I wouldn't let you suffer by following me. This $20,000 is a bonus for you." I thought there would be a bonus, but I never expected it to be so much. What an amazing boss. Greedy for money as I am, I jumped up excitedly and gave John a big hug. I'm not exaggerating. After living in poverty for 5 years abroad, I've developed a money-grubbing persona. I know I'm worth millions, but that money belongs to my parents. I know my mom can take it back from me at any time. So I've learned that only the money you earn yourself is real money. I was really happy about the $20,000. Seeing me so happy, the corners of John's mouth involuntarily turned up. John lowered his voice and told me not to say a word. Shoo, I didn't give them that much. I quickly nodded. Then John took out a plane ticket from his pocket. And here's your promised vacation. I've booked you a 5-day luxury seaside vacation. Me, oh my God. I've always wanted to see the blue tears. Thank you, boss. I declare that from now on, I'll work like a horse for you. Crazy for you, infatuated with you, and I'll even bang my head against the wall for you. John was a bit embarrassed by my praise. He scratched his head and waved his hand. Haha, it's just a small thing. Who said this boss was stingy? He's so generous. The 5-day luxury seaside vacation had a set time, so I packed my luggage and left the next day. On the plane, I met my boss, John. He was sitting next to me. Me? John gave me the ticket. There's no way he didn't know I was flying there for a vacation today. John, I'm also going there on a business trip on the way. Don't worry, I won't disturb your vacation. After the 2-hour flight, I went to pick up my luggage with him. John, I've contacted the hotel staff to pick us up. He's waiting for us in the parking lot. Me, are we staying in the same hotel? John, yeah, there's a discount for booking together. 2 suites are next to each other. After I put my luggage away, I heard a thud at the next door entrance. John came out. I thought he would knock on my door. After all, he said he was sending me here for a vacation, but it was too deliberate. The same flight, the same hotel, and rooms next to each other. Isn't this just a disguised way of making me work? I was already prepared to work, but after waiting for a long time, there was no sound at the door. I opened the door, and there was nothing and no one there. What? Did he really go off on his business alone? With a complicated mood, I slowly went to the hotel cafeteria for dinner. I sent a message to my poor overworked best friend and childhood buddy, vacation mode starts. Hannah, I'm so envious. I'm turning into a lemon, Emily. The restaurant had a large floor-to-ceiling window. Through the window, I could see the sunset over the sea. The pink evening glow reflected off the waves. It was really beautiful. When Hannah saw the photos I took, she was even more heartbroken. I want to crawl around darkly and twistedly in the office. I want Robert to know that if he messes with me, I'll turn into a furry creature. Hannah, you were so foresight, I was wrong. I should have listened to you and found a job outside after returning home. It would have been better than being trapped in my own company now. Robert is such a damn capitalist, it's so shitty. He won't even spare his own daughter. Not a single day off in 365 days a year. He's not human at all. Robert isn't human, can you believe it? I slave away for 30 days a month, and I don't even get a paycheck. Robert says everything I earn is the company's, and the company's is all mine, but damn it, I still have to watch his mood just to spend pocket money. I saw all this coming a long time ago. If I had joined the company back then, I'd probably end up the same way. Me, condolences. I went and saw the sites you couldn't go to. Work hard, and I'll be free for you. Oh, and John booked my flights and hotels, I didn't spend a dime. Hannah, your boss is the real deal. So humane. Robert should learn from him, I can't stand him anymore. Me, but I'm on vacation while he's working, isn't that a bit off? Hannah? You're on vacation, and your boss is working? Sis, are you the boss's wife now? Me? Hannah, isn't that the kind of treatment only the boss's wife gets? Me, maybe because John found out my real identity. That's why he's been so polite and caring toward me. Hannah, Robert knows my identity, so why doesn't he suck up to me? Does he know I have the right to decide whether to pull the plug when he's lying sick in bed someday? That old man better wait and see if I'll be filial to him or not. Hannah finished her rant, getting back on track. If your boss used you to leverage a connection with Robert's influence, he should definitely be sucking up to you. At first I thought that might be it, but if he really hitched onto that, he'd be busy with Robert's deals lately. Why rush nonstop to this place for a business trip? Me, John seemed to get to know Robert through his family connections, and after he found out I'm Robert's daughter, he avoided talking about it with me and never asked me to say anything to Robert. Hannah, so why is he so good to you? There's no such thing as a free lunch, even my own dad doesn't spoil me. I don't believe your boss doesn't have an ulterior motive. Anyway, watch out, he's after your money, your connections, or your looks. Ruling out the money thing first since John has been spending on me. As for the other two Hannah mentioned, that's still up for investigation. I kept listening for sounds from the next room, and John didn't come back until past 9 p.m. I immediately opened the door. John, have you eaten? John jumped at my sudden appearance. I ate, just finished entertaining clients. You weren't out playing? Yeah, it's too late and unsafe. Once I wrap up these couple of busy days, I can keep you company. I smelled the alcohol on him. Boss, you talked about that deal with Robert, why rush out to find new business? Is the company in financial trouble? John shook his head quickly, afraid I might bolt if the company was struggling. The company's fine, don't worry. I dropped the Robert deal, so I'm out scouting for new business. If I can close these 3 deals, it'll make up for the gap from Robert's collaboration. Oh, so that's why. I was puzzled. Why drop it? I'll talk to Robert. John really needs that big deal. Didn't Robert say he was impressed with this young up-and-comer? Why go back on his word? John quickly grabbed my hand. John, haven't sunk to relying on a woman. He didn't want her to sacrifice herself. Me, John, is it because of me that you don't want to work together? You don't want to rely on Robert's connections? He's being so nice to me. Is he playing hard to get or just attracted to my beauty? John lowered his eyes, a plan forming in his mind. Rest assured, I'm 80% confident I can land all 3 deals. The company will keep improving, so just stay put at work. Emily, don't go looking for Robert, I don't want you to go to him. He must save this troubled girl from her predicament. He can't bear to stand by and watch the woman he loves stay trapped in that mess. With the boss so driven, the employee, couldn't just slack off on vacation either. Me, when are you heading out tomorrow? I'll go with you. John shook his head. You enjoy your vacation on your own, I'm just out for business meetings. After all, I used to handle sales trips solo back in the day. I sighed. Easy come, easy go. From frugality to luxury is simple, but luxury to frugality is tough. Back then with no assistant, but now with one around, having help is more convenient anyway. No problem, boss, I'll take it as a chance to broaden my horizons and get some experience tagging along, just give me more bonus pay later on. John thought, she really must be struggling financially if she's even thinking about earning money on vacation. Fine, let her earn it. The more cash she has, the fewer times she'll go looking for that scumbag Robert. With that in mind, John felt increasingly motivated and energized. I ran 6 back-to-back meetings over 3 days with John, finally clinching all 3 clients. 5 days of vacation left, only 2 days now. John, for these next 2 days, play to your heart's content. Wherever you want to go, I'll take you. From now on, you're off duty, no longer my assistant Emily, and I'm no longer your boss Mr. Wilson. We're just travel buddies now. Travel buddies. John sure knows the lingo for a young guy. With work finished, I could fully relax on vacation, and my best dress finally got its chance to shine. After a day by the sea, I hadn't expected John to be so genuinely patient. He turned into my personal bag carrier, offering full-on photo service throughout, and covered all expenses. Even by dinner, his expression showed no impatience at all. Now, he was still dishing out food and peeling shrimp for me. Propping my chin, I watched him and started thinking about what my best friend Hannah had said. Shouldn't a normal boss, no matter how nice, treat an employee like this? Incredibly attentive and thoughtful, no authority vibes whatsoever, and he even told me not to think of him as my boss. Could he really be attracted to me? Buzz, a sudden ringtone cut off my thoughts. Caller ID, Daddy. The phone sat on the table, and John glanced over, spotting it too. I knew he didn't want me tangled up with my family, so I grabbed the phone, stood up, and headed outside to take the call. When I turned my back, John's face darkened. Daddy? Robert again? What did he want from her now? As I walked away, I replied to my dad, I'll be back in 2 days. John cursed, that persistent old bastard. Damn him. Me, how could I ever forget you, dear? I've been keeping you in mind all along, and I even bought you souvenirs. Once far enough that he couldn't hear, I kept chatting, and he waited in his seat for another 5 minutes, sitting on pins and needles until just as he was about to get up and find me, I finished the call and returned cheerfully. No other reason, my dad was touched when he learned I'd bought souvenirs on my trip and decided to transfer me $20,000. Good thing my mom eased up after I returned to China. No sooner had I set my phone down than $20,000 hit my account. John seemed focused on peeling shrimp but was actually watching my phone closely. After he finished and washed his hands, he tapped at his own phone a few times. The next instant, my screen lit up again. $40,000 was deposited. I looked up confused at the person across from me. This is... John Wilson smiled generously. This is compensation for the vacation days you missed in payment for accompanying me to work. I grinned brightly. Thanks, John. This is awesome. Fuck, I'm gonna be financially free. John added, is this still not better than that old man? We each went back to our rooms to rest in the evening. After I showered, I heard someone knocking at the door. It was John. He asked, Emily, do you have hot water in your room? Mine suddenly stopped, and the hotel maintenance won't be here anytime soon. The nights in early autumn were still quite chilly. I quickly opened the door and let him in. John must have been in the middle of his shower when the water cut off because his hair was dripping wet and he only wore a gray towel wrapped around his waist. He was shirtless, with smooth, firm muscle lines, perfectly aligned 8-pack abs. Lower down, his Adonis belt was distinctly sensual and faintly visible, glistening water droplets trailing over his cool, pale skin. Watching this made my ears burn and inexplicably dry mouth set in. No, him. John just stood quietly at the door letting me stare for a full 5 minutes. Finally, because my gaze was so intense it got his blood pumping, he couldn't handle it anymore. Whispering, he asked, can I come in to shower? I stammered, why yes. John went in to shower, and I guzzled cold water in the living room. Listening to the water running in the bathroom, I couldn't help but replay the image in my mind. Such a perfect male physique, I'd only seen that on TV before. The heat lingered on my face. I even found myself imagining the part covered by the towel, which seemed impressively shapely. "Stop it, Emily. What are you thinking?" When John finished showering, he looked a bit different than before. The towel around his waist was wetter now. Clinging tightly to his upper thighs, my weak-willed eyes automatically zeroed in. After 2 seconds, I forced myself to look away. John pretended not to notice. "I'm done, I'll head out." Late at night, loneliness flooded me like a deluge, making my heart uneasy and restless. I got up and drank lots of water, tossing and turning without falling asleep. At midnight, a flash of lightning suddenly lit the sky, followed by a rumble of thunder. I snapped awake for a moment. 5 minutes later, John knocked on my door again. "Emily, there's thunder, are you scared?" Through the door, I answered, "No." John paused, softening his voice. "I am. Can you come keep me company? It took me so long to calm down." "Whatever, he's handsome, and it won't cost me anything." I followed John to his room. Pitch dark inside. Occasionally when lightning flashed in the sky, I could make out his face. I turned on the small bedside lamp. "You sleep, I'll watch over you here." John obediently closed his eyes, but his hand silently slipped out from under the covers and precisely grabbed mine. I tugged gently and found he was sound asleep, gripping my hand tightly. I was bored and felt uninterested after glancing at my phone for a while, so I ended up staring at John's face, completely mesmerized. He had striking features, deep-set eyes, a high-nose bridge, thin lips, and an air of refined elegance. My coworkers said he comes across as serious and intimidating when he isn't smiling, that they're all afraid of him and feel pressured working with him, but from my experience interacting with him, he seems harmless and quite caring toward me. But after thinking it over carefully, what happened today really seems to have crossed the boundary between superior and subordinate. No purely professional superior would end up sleeping beside a subordinate like this. If he isn't after my connections, is he actually after me? Before I knew it, I drifted off to sleep. When I opened my eyes again, it was the next morning, and all I saw was the ceiling. The ceiling? Was I in a bed? I jerked upright and frantically looked down at my clothes. Thankfully, they were still intact and untouched. There was no one else beside me either. Wait, how did I get into the bed? Where was John? John was in the kitchen preparing breakfast. After washing up and stepping out, I saw him humming a tune and looking quite cheerful. I walked over and asked, "John, did you carry me to bed last night?" I don't recall having a habit of climbing into beds myself. He nodded and said, "Last night, I saw you were asleep, so I carried you to bed. But don't worry, I didn't touch you, I only gave you a light kiss on the forehead." Being adults, we both understood what that implied. I said, "So you weren't actually scared of the thunder? You deliberately seduced me?" It was all a pretense, just like borrowing the bathroom to shower. John brought over 2 plates of breakfast and handed one to me. He smiled faintly and admitted, "Yes, I deliberately seduced you last night. I like you, Emily, I've liked you for a long time." His bluntness caught me completely off guard. Then he added, "How about you? Do you feel anything for me?" His eyes seemed almost hypnotic, and I instinctively nodded. John said, "Good, that's good." What did that mean? Was this a confession? Were we together now? I felt dizzy, like it was all a dream. John had already picked up his phone and moved on to another topic. He glanced at me and said in an overly casual tone, "Isn't that Robert? Why is he walking so close with another woman? Good thing we never partnered with him, I didn't realize he was such an unfaithful guy." My thoughts drifted to that as I looked at the woman in the photo. It definitely wasn't my mother. John stirred things up further. Reports say he's been cycling through several female companions. I shot up in agitation and shouted, "Impossible." John tried to soothe me. "It's okay, Emily. With or without him, I'm here for you. I'm not inferior to him in youth or stamina." But I couldn't make sense of his rambling. My mind was in chaos over the impending crisis in my family. I rushed to grab my phone, which showed several missed calls and messages from Robert. John added, "By the way, Robert called you a few times this morning. I didn't want to wake you, so I answered for you. Don't worry, Emily, I'll be by your side from now on, you don't need anyone else. I could barely understand what he was going on about. Just half an hour ago, I'd still been asleep. After my dad called me twice, John picked up the third call. Dad, hello, Emily. John, she's asleep. That one sentence left my dad utterly baffled. But John didn't stop there, adding, Emily's sleeping in my bed. Hearing this clearly, my dad started panting with rage. You too. John, Robert, if you've got a problem, take it up with me, John. Don't take it out on some young girl. Don't contact her again from now on. I'll also tell Emily not to see you anymore. Dad? John. You've got some nerve. Beep beep beep, John hung up. Dad, I can't even see my own daughter. Some random bastard actually dared to lure my daughter away. Dating is one thing, but he wants my daughter to cut ties with her family too. Mom approached. What's wrong, old man? What did Emily say? Why are you so mad? Dad let out a tycoon-like cold laugh. The weather's getting cold, time for the Wilsons to go bankrupt. Meanwhile, clueless me saw my dad's text message, Emily, get home immediately. Mom texted too, come back now. Even my brother, who hadn't contacted me in ages, family emergency meeting at 3 p.m. today. RSVP. Me, received. Putting that together with the photos John had just shown me. Oh no, this seems really serious. I frantically packed my luggage and rushed straight to the airport. John accompanied me, helped rebook my ticket, asking, what happened at home? Is it critical? Should I come with you? I felt completely lost. Having seen too many wealthy couples split up, I couldn't bear the thought of my parents being like that. I'm luckier than most, raised since childhood in a loving home. Dad and Mom were childhood sweethearts, married young, deeply devoted. Because Dad loved Mom and Mom loved Dad, they had my brother and me. Their love nurtured me, they're my emotional anchors. I couldn't handle my entire world crumbling if they separated. After landing, I raced home. John drove me but froze when we parked before a mansion. This is your house? His face showed a colorful palette of emotions. I was puzzled too, yeah. John suddenly grabbed my wrist, disbelieving, wait, is your father? Me, my dad's Robert Brown? You talked to him this morning? John, no, the sky might as well have collapsed. He covered his head with his hands after I got out, looking agonized. John, shit. What have I done? Only then realizing her dad was literally her father. He'd assumed Daddy was some online nickname. For that kind of relationship. Moments later, John posted on social media, a dirty mind sees filth everywhere, dedicated to myself. Since this was family business, I didn't invite John inside. I dashed into the house without even grabbing my luggage from his car. My dad, my mom, and my brother were all present. I took the initiative and whipped out a gossip photo of Robert. Robert, you better explain this. Robert was dumbfounded, my mom was also dumbfounded, and my brother remained expressionless. Forget it. Can't count on him, so I'll just be my parents' love bodyguard. I transformed into a love judge, speaking righteously, Robert, hurry up and talk. Who is this? How dare you be tangled up with another woman outside, where does this put Mom? If you dare betray Mom, I'll be the first to disagree. The air turned eerily quiet for a moment. My mom pointed at the photo, this photo isn't complete, I was right there. Robert also explained, this is our family's longtime friend, your Aunt Sia. She wanted you to marry her son, but I refused, so there was some pulling back and forth. My mom nodded in agreement. My brother squinted his eyes, where did you get this photo? John sent it to me. Robert's face darkened, what a big power play. What do you mean? My brother summed it up tersely, that John called Robert today, saying you two are together, and had you cut ties with the family. It seemed like my brother's words lacked any impact. Immediately after, Robert replayed that morning's phone call exactly, vividly reenacting it. What goes around comes around. Now it was Robert questioning me, you didn't even bring back your luggage. So, falling in love means cutting off family ties? Oh crap, is this all aimed at me? Is this family meeting for my sake? I was numbed. Meanwhile, in the car outside the villa, the culprit John was seeking advice from his shrewd cousin. Cousin, well, I have this friend. He's pursuing a girl, and he saw her get into a car and leave with a middle-aged man. He didn't know it was her dad. He kept misinterpreting it as some messed-up romantic relationship between the girl and her dad. Out of kindness, he wanted to save her from distress. But throughout this, he kept bad-mouthing her dad to her face, drove a wedge between her and her dad, and even encouraged her to cut ties with her dad. Plus, he deliberately cooked up gossip about her dad to stir up chaos and throw her household into turmoil. Cousin, that's wild. Your friend might have a few screws loose? Intelligence unclear, but heart's in the right place. John, I didn't expect her to not share her dad's last name, and it's my first time seeing such a down-to-earth heiress, no heirs, doesn't wear designer labels, loves money like it's life itself, and absolutely adores street food. So he never connected Emily to Robert's daughter. The cousin saw through it, the friend was none other than his clueless cousin. How could anyone mess up this badly? John, save me. Cousin, the chips are down now. Just confess sincerely. After all, honesty is the ultimate weapon. After hearing Robert's recount, plus John's strange behavior and attitude recently, by now I understood everything. From the very start, John had never grasped that Robert was my dad. It's pretty impressive we managed to talk past each other for so long. No wonder colleagues always say you need two language systems to communicate with the boss, otherwise, you won't understand a thing he's saying. At first, I didn't get it, but today, the boomerang hit me. No wonder he thought I was quitting, thought I'd hooked up with a sugar daddy. No wonder every time I brought up Robert, he told me to come to him for help. No wonder he stopped working with Robert, no wonder he didn't want me to contact Robert. Everything had its traces to follow. I was still worried he was after my family fortune and connections, but now it was my turn to question his intelligence. John was right outside, should I bring him in? Let him explain it. He knows best. Robert snorted. If he doesn't clarify things, daring to abduct my daughter, I'll break his legs today. I quickly backed away. If you hit him, you can't hit me. John and I had only been apart for a short hour when, on going back outside to find him, he opened a car packed with gifts. What's all this? Gifts for Uncle and Aunt as an apology for my first visit, John replied. That was fast. John made 5 trips before he finished unloading everything from the car. Robert and my mother looked. John was sweating profusely, unsure if from exhaustion or fear, and said, Uncle, Aunt, sorry. I apologize. John took a deep breath and truthfully recounted the whole story from beginning to end. Robert and my mother looked utterly bewildered the whole time. My brother pulled me aside. Are you sure you want to be with him? He pointed to his head. I hesitated, then said, Brother, his intelligence is fine. My brother sighed, whatever, as long as you like him. After dinner, I walked John out. At parting, he grabbed my hand and said, Emily, I didn't mean it, I really know I was wrong. His palm was all sweaty from nervousness. Standing on the steps, I patted his head. Go back. John persisted shamelessly, if you don't make it clear, I'm not leaving. I replied, you barely passed my parents' test. But our score is separate, I'll settle it with you alone. Just wait, tonight. John nodded obediently, okay, I'll go home first to wash my guilty self clean, then tie a bow and wait for you to deal with me.